know we make things shake. You know I gets that money,
all day.
that cake, I gets that bread. You know we make things shake. You know I gets that money, that cake, I gets that bread.
I'm back in the building.
You know I get that money.
Put a little dirty South swag up in here. Well, you know what it is.
To make Lyft or Uber or whatever you're doing on the side worth it. So let me help you out. $275 a day is $100,000 a year.
Oh damn.
So if you just bust that in, if you bust, it's always about the fucking numbers when you trading your time for money. Bust the shit down. If you're gonna do it with intention. So if I am gonna do some food deliveries on the side or some rides when I'm outside of work, let me give myself a target. $275 a day will get you $100,000 a year. You bust that in half, $50,000. So bust $275 in half and just target that. Hell, you can go for half of that and go for a quarter extra. Somebody earlier said they want to earn an extra $15,000 to $10,000. Do the math and get your ass out here involved in something that will bring that money in. And then in the meantime, right? 20 to 30 minutes a night, all it takes, and if y'all writing stuff down, 100 hours. If you spend 100 hours, break it down to how much time you're able to spend each day on working on something. Meaning if I spend 100 hours studying credit, if I spend 100 hours on just looking up and listening to YouTube videos and reading up or going into different investment banks or talking to or viewing online, because you can talk to bankers online now, or you can view the stuff on their website. If I spend 100 hours educating myself on investment accounts and ways to make my money, earn money, you're going to start being more productive. Go ahead, Ariel, because I cut you off.
No, you said it. I mean, you said it. I mean, I set myself like a weekly goal, but I wasn't looking like annually. But now that my living situation with this person is literally abruptly, like, you know, it's just what it is. Mm-hmm. And so I have to make sure that I can afford my rent alone, you know, and I just start tallying up the numbers. Like, okay, every 3 months, like you said, annually. My goal was at least extra $400 a week, but I wasn't looking what that would be annually. And then it's like, okay, I can have that money, but I don't, like you always say, save money is you won't spend it.
Right. It needs to be invested. That's why I'm saying to any of y'all that feel like I do have some decent money coming in outside of my bill money, you need to understand, like, things like what I teach, that budgeting structure, layering yourself, and then investing. The idea is you save to invest. In America, and this is really me going into, you know, my money zoom, but in America, banks make money off of lending out money. They don't even have to actually have the physical amount of money they're lending out in the bank. The idea is when you understand that banks are a business, right? We're not just taking our money to the bank and it's just sitting there and waiting for you to swipe your debit card or come in and make a withdrawal. That's not how this works. This is why a lot of us need to educate ourselves. Every bit of interest they're earning on things, people that invest their money are getting in on that pot. Anybody have any questions on what I'm saying so far? Now, if you're in a situation similar to Ariel where you're going through a breakup, right? Somebody described to me what a breakup looks like in the physical. Like, we living in the same household. We decide right now we're going to break up. What is at least one of us doing in this scene?
Ignoring the other person.
But what? Okay, so we're breaking up, Rio. We're separating. What does it look like? Someone is doing what?
Picking up their shit and leaving.
Yes, come on, Lynn. What? They moving, they getting it right. So now, when we talk about an area specific to your situation than anybody else, we're talking about a breakup. When you're looking at just putting the picture in front of you, if two people are breaking up, somebody's getting their shit and leaving, meaning action is being done. So if you're going through a breakup or something that you're leaving alone, what the fuck do you think you need to be doing in this season right now?
Taking care of your business.
Second.
Say that again.
Your shit together.
Say that. No. Listen, I don't want y'all to dress it up. I'm being very literal. If me and Don are in a relationship and we're breaking up and I live in his house and we're separated, who's getting their shit? This is Don's house. Who's packing that shit up? Me, right?
You're leaving.
So if you're watching a breakup, I'm doing what? I'm going around this whole house and I'm doing what?
Getting your shit.
Getting my shit, right? I'm getting my shit together and I'm getting the fuck out. When you're going through a breakup and we talk about conversations like what we're having, tallying up, you should be moving. It should be a constant movement. Do y'all understand what I'm getting at? So, for example, if I'm counseling Jess Ariel, she needs to have a sheet of paper out and she needs to list at least 10 things that she needs to be doing right now that goes along with breaking up. Because it's not about the physical, just getting my things and getting out of this space. It's about if I'm breaking away from something, I need to make sure I'm moving on to something new, not just moving on. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining? It needs to be intentional.
Yeah.
We do breakups and we're not doing them intentional. You don't get no motherfucking cookie for leaving nobody alone. The satisfaction that you left them, that honeymoon stages ends about 2 weeks to a month, depending on how much you cared about them. For some people, depending on how much trauma you went through, it might last 4 months. After that, the honeymoon stage of you telling everybody, hey, me and Don broke up. Bitch, you know I ain't with Don no more. Yeah, you know we don't fuck with each other no more. That shit gets old. Now what the fuck are you doing? There has to be an agenda. Go ahead, Rhea.
Focusing on yourself now?
But when we say, because it's very cliche nowadays, everybody say I'm working on self. It's self-care. What I'm saying is there needs to be a list of shit that you actually working on.
To figure out what was the reason why you was in that situation, the cause of the
Having a
breakup.
purpose.
There you go, Roland. Yes. The idea is, so when somebody said understanding, the mistakes or whatever lessons I needed from that situation, yes. But what I'm talking about right now, if Ariel's saying I'm finna break up with him, I'm finna leave, right? He finna get out or I'm finna get out. What's the fucking plan after that? What's the plan after that? But when y'all listen, when you're saying, because a lot of y'all saying focusing on yourself, that sounds great. What does that mean?
Dorsey, so I can actually. Can they hear you?
I hear two of y'all. Whoever want to go, and then the other person can go.
So I actually did what you're saying, Dorsey. Like what you're saying. So this was what the process. I started planning where I'm going to move. I started to decide how much money I'm going to need to make this move.
Come on.
So once I got all that together, I applied for these places to make sure I got approved for them. Now I know how much money I need. Now we having this conversation. We got to break up. This is going to happen. I start packing my stuff. Now after I do that, it's movement. I know what you're saying because it's like I'm making the steps to make the movements that I need.
But it needs, yes, Chrissy, yes. But it needs to be, Roland said it best. It needs to be more than just the physical of moving. That's a lust stage where you feel sexy about the breakup. Because obviously you're leaving for a reason. That is tied to feelings. That dies down, and then what? Roland, go ahead, because you said it best.
When you have a purpose, you just get up in the morning, you be motivated to do something with yourself in life. And that's, I learned that from you. Having a purpose, it don't stir you off from what you're motivated to do. You know, it's hard for you to go back.
Yes, come on. Come on.
You have a purpose.
Come on, Roland.
It was a live Love did that was regarding men, and one of the things that Love said was anything about men need to have a fucking purpose,
yes,
a reason to move in life.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's gonna be money and pussy.
Yep. Walk around as a grown, especially as a man, right? And watch this. Walk around as a grown man and have no purpose. You're being marketed ass all day long. If there is no agenda for your time and your mental focus, what do you think you're going to be programmed to focus on? Because nowadays, if you're not intentionally following people online, your news feed is going to be filled with ass and the idea that you need to have some fucking money as a man. That's it. And over time, you will be programmed to believe those are the only things that you need to get up and move for. So you're being ran by those things with no real sense of myself as a man. No, not just no purpose, but your self-esteem and other things will be tied to ass and money. Now watch this with females. When we don't have some shit that we're actually focused on or tied to, we get caught up in the having babies, being somebody's mom. And this is why so many females get triggered when I talk about how being a single mother ain't it, bitch. It's not a flex, bitch. It produces the worst product in this fucking country statistically. Most of the prisons are filled with 80 to 90% of people that came from a single-headed female household. It doesn't work. When I say this, it gets under a bitch skin because guess what? Hoe ain't got no purpose. A motherfucker ain't got nothing valuable in their life for themselves besides the children they pushed out. And then us as women, we judge one another. Oh, you got kids? You married? Where your man at? If you don't got your kids, what's wrong with her? Everything is tied to this idea that, oh, I live for my kids and they all I got and all I got is them. It's bullshit. You were a human being, an individual before you were someone's mom. I don't even give a fuck if you got pregnant young. You were your own person that you're supposed to explore and develop, not just live for an outside being. Who knows what happens when we become adults, no matter how good or bad our parents raised us? What happens when we start to develop our own mind as an individual? We do what with the family? We do what? Unless we manipulate it to stay up under them, we do what?
Separate. We separate.
We separate and we go out into the world and we start doing our own thing, regardless of whatever it was mama and daddy tried to teach us. When, as an adult, you don't have your own shit to focus on that goes with your self-esteem and your purpose, you will chase your kids the fuck down all their life. Why do you think it's so many of y'all that have dated a mama's boy? The mama running right behind them, never holding them accountable. Half the stuff you saying to her about what she could step in and help guide her son on, she don't want to because that would break her influence over him. That's her man because she could never keep a man. And she's in denial that we are wired biologically for companionship. She gonna tell you this single mother thing is it. And I don't need no man and I raised me and mine by myself. But everything about your biology, from your hips and your fucking uterus and your hormones telling you you want dick or whatever it is that you're attracted to, that shit is coming out of you from a natural space. It's a part of the yearning for socializing and being in relationships. So this is why when y'all look around, it be a lot of unhealthy shit when we look at single parent households, not because these people are trying to do it or they're trying to fuck some shit up. They can't fucking help it. It's damn near a mental health issue. You're using your children to fill a void that you should be connecting with another adult. This is when you see people that can't even see their children off to school or off into a career without hovering over them. And then I do so many one-on-ones with younger people. They talk about how they know that their parents are manipulating them to just conform to what they want. They're 18, 19. My mama still treats me a certain way if I don't do exactly what she says, to the point where the young person don't even know how to use their own mind. How many of y'all realize, not when you turn 18, but when you really touch these streets as an adult, you realize, fuck, I got to use my own brain. I can't call mama and daddy for everything. There are situations it requires me to make a choice and stand on that shit in the moment. How many of y'all can relate?
I started noticing that when I started dating.
I can't.
When I started dating, hell yeah. I can't fucking talk to my parents about that shit.
It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. And we need to be more real as individuals. There needs to be a clear plan for what you're doing with yourself. This is a fact for all of us, me included. If you don't give yourself something to focus on, marketing through the internet, through billboards, TVs, the radio, these apps that we utilize throughout the day, they will give you something to focus on. So either you motherfucking decide or they'll decide for you through conditioning. Conditioning is repetition of the introduction of information, a certain environment, a certain product. You see it enough, your mind becomes familiar with it no matter what the fuck you say. This is how you brand. When I teach my marketing and entrepreneurship Zoom, this is the basis of branding. You know how you get a business going and then now you want to call it a brand. It has to become something that is known for something. The emblem, the slogan, the motto, the mission statement, and it needs to be repetitiously beat in front of people, 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 to the point where you see the colors of the fucking logo and you realize, oh, that's Apple. Oh, that's Amazon. Oh, that's the Walt Disney logo. Oh, that's Walgreens. Oh, that's Publix. Oh, that's Walmart. You know it. You've been fed it. As you surf on the internet, you're going to be given shit to focus on if you don't. Have something on your own to focus yourself on. So who else? What do you know you need to be working on right now? We're 6 months in the year.
Well, I know I need to be working on budgeting because, you know, I was conditioned as growing up to be thinking that all the time that go to work, and, you know, that's how it's going to get through life. But, you know, learning this new knowledge I learned, you know, it's not always good to just work always through your life. You know,
yes.
You want to find it. So,
yes.
You know, I've been getting into, you know, budgeting, trying to figure out how can I make more money to have multiple streams of income so I can, you know, have a comfortable life instead of just waking up going to a 9 to 5
right.
to what my parents conditioned me to do.
Right.
You know, they did what they did, but now it's time for me to unlearn and relearn the things I need to learn so I can move the way I want to move. You know, because the only thing I learned from them is just go to work, pay your bills.
Yes.
So
I'm going to tell you, Roland, so write this down. When you see me do my budgeted and multiple streams of income Zoom, get in it. I break it down very hood style on all the streams of income. I give book recommendations to jumpstart you. The other thing you need to write down is you don't just need budgeting. You need to write down multiple streams of income. I want to create multiple streams of income coming in. Now, the other thing is credit. You need to understand credit and how to leverage it. So if I were you, I would fill my Instagram and Facebook, or if you watch YouTube, fill my following up with pages that they talk about information on building credit, how to leverage credit, what financial institutions, watch this, what banks give out money easier than some others, what credit unions are the best ones. And then a lot of stuff that has to do with credit don't actually have to do with your credit score. There is a lot of information regarding credit where if you just, regardless of your credit score, I'm going to say that again, if you just go put a certain amount of money into their bank and let it sit and add a small direct deposit for about 2 months, you're eligible to be able to get some sort of funding or a credit card from them. Now, the idea is, it ain't that I necessarily need this. The point is for me to get active with finances. The other thing, Roland, yes, the other thing, Roland, though, is the same thing I was telling, I think it was Rhea. And the easiest way to do this, I explain this all the time. I explained it at the event in Texas. Lie. Meaning, go into an investment bank or your local bank. Tell them, my great so-and-so died and I'm coming into $50,000, $100,000. I would like to know the best way to invest this money here. And they're going to ask you questions about what you're trying to do for your future. And they will sit there and give you all the information you fucking need on what accounts give what returns and what amount of money is needed for these CDs and that and this. And you can do this over the phone or in multiple banks until you really get good with understanding what I need to invest in. The point is, if you determine rolling, you're going to get to the bread. When you get to the bread, you want to already know what to do with it. Because when you have the bread and you don't got no purpose for it, your ass going to get marketed to spend it. Because marketing does not stop. You can't turn it off. If y'all understand what I'm saying about conditioning and being programmed through repetition, in this country, you cannot cut it off. You cannot. There are apps that y'all don't even want to see commercials on, but you can't stop them. Or they'll charge you. Hey, you want to be on this app or you want to log into this particular account without seeing ads? Give us an extra $9.99 a month. Like you got to pay not to be fed shit that you didn't want to be fed. Who else?
I want to say, like, with me, it's more of, making the money, making six figures or better. And like the other lady said, like, not really investing. And just, I feel like I've gotten too comfortable versus when I was, I'm gonna say when I was broke and I had to work a 9 to 5 versus now it seemed like
It feel wealthy.
It seems like I've gotten kind of, I ain't even gonna say kind of, I've gotten lazy. I always want to eat out all the time.
Right down.
Go to the parties, just because, you know what I'm saying?
Right. I know what you're saying. Trust
I'm
me.
not struggling, It's so weird to me because I'm just like, what the fuck?
It feels like you made it.
Yep. Yeah, and I know I haven't. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that, you still got to, if you just spend it, you'll never, you know what I mean, really have any real wealth for real. Yep. Like you said, getting sucked in by the market, buying bags and Chanel shoes and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff that I wasn't normally even doing.
Yes, feel like you made it.
Yeah, but at the same time, it also puts me in a really, like, to gain my self-control back. Like, it's like I'm out of fucking control, and I'm trying to, like, gain it back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
easy.
Just, I don't know.
Very easy solution, right? And what she's saying is very relatable to a lot of people. When you come from poverty, when you get a little bit of something, it feels like you've made it. And this is why a lot of us go up and then go down. Go up and then go down. And you could never really get yourself to that space where you're out of the hustle stage, right? You've been hustling for 5, 10, 15 years. Resources. If CJ was putting herself constantly in rooms with people that have more minded that the shit she got ain't where she needs to stop at. Don't get too comfortable. There are things in this world that you haven't seen or accessed yet. And the way that you really grow, it's not about having or wanting what other people have. It's about understanding that there's always room for me to grow. When you box yourself in, like if you don't floor, 5th floor, 6th floor, if you don't know, if you never look, this fucking building goes up to floor 12. You might jog up the stairs to floor 3 and it feels like a lot of work. You breathing hard and you sweating like, hell yeah, I made it to floor 3. And you might get comfortable with the people on floor 3. Y'all up there having a floor 3 motherfucking party. And it feels like this is it, right? And so then as an adult, we start working our mind less because we feel like, bitch, I'm on floor 3. I'm up here with the floor 3 people. We know all the floor 3 shit. I don't need to pour into myself. Ooh, growth. I don't need to do much more. I'm not exercising my mind, right? This shit is a muscle, right? Now, if you knew there's a floor 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you would understand like, yeah, we kicking it on floor 3, but in all reality, once I master this shit on floor 3, I really should grow and want to elevate to floor 4. Why not? Why would I stay in the room where I become the smartest person in the room or one of the smartest people in the room? Why won't I work my muscle, meaning it's going to take me to go back out to the staircase, go up to the next. I'm going to get tired again. It's going to feel uncomfortable again. I'm going to sweat again. But you can't be afraid of that motherfucking work. You can't be afraid of it. Who understands what I'm explaining?
Okay, I got what you're saying, and that was my next question because I feel like I start, stop. Like I'll be really motivated, and then I fall back, and then really motivated, and then I fall back. So we basically need to be in a constant state of being uncomfortable.
It's not. I'm gonna tell you this. It's not a constant state of being uncomfortable, right? It is as I build myself up, right? Once I made it to floor 3. I do want to change my lifestyle. I still want to live below my means. If some of y'all took my not my entrepreneurship, my budgeted and multiple streams of income, I talk about that, right? I still want to live below my means, right? But what I do want to do is as I gain more knowledge, as I gain more momentum, as I'm bringing in more bread, as I'm getting more and more swaggy with this motherfucking finance shit, I want to elevate my lifestyle, but I still want to stay below my means. So I'm not uncomfortable. Like, I'm not in a constant survival mode. I'm in a mode for, I got that dog in me. Like, I'm trying to actually get out here and do more. Yeah, we stable. Yeah, the lights on. Yeah, the rent paid up. Yeah, the mortgage is paid. But what else can I do? Let me keep myself active so I'm not always caught up in a fucking feeling. And I ain't scared of no work. It's never about how hard some shit is. It's about how bad you need to get it done. For where you come from, your generational curses, the kids you fucked and made, the family you're trying to feed, the desire in you. Now, there is a question of motivation. Because in order to be in a space like what I'm talking about, you have to be motivated daily for this. Like CJ said, if you with a bunch of other bitches every day that all they want to do is buy Chanel bags and spend money, that's all you're going to be on. It's simple conditioning. Same thing I said about marketing. You're going to be persuaded and influenced to continue that same behavior. And if you come from the hood like I do, a motherfucker will damn near make you feel like ain't nothing wrong with staying on welfare. Ain't nothing wrong with continuing to just earn. A bitch think they better. You need to humble yourself. Y'all don't let them make you feel like you got to be doing all that. You doing too much. Your environment influences your paradigms and what you believe you're capable of doing. Watch this. Your environment also influences how much you do or don't consider fear. And I ain't say your fear in general. Because when you're in a space where you don't have something to focus on, and men know this, the wrong people will just project their fears onto you and you won't get nothing done even if you was motivated to do it.
Dorothy, I had a client that told me that. I asked her, because she has $1 million shoe company, and she was like, Chrissy, I still live as if I make $10,000 a month. I'm like, what? She was like, I live a good life. She said, but if I get to a certain place in my life, I look at my life as $10,000 is my max. Even though you have all that money, she said, yeah, I still live a life that's comfortable, but I'm not out here blowing it because it can go as fast as it can. So she lives a $10,000, like she stays under the 10,000 mark, but she lives as if all her income is $10,000.
Right. So, and I'm going to tell you something. They say, yes, no, it makes perfect sense. You know, when I do my budgeting and multiple streams of income, I talk about living below your means, the exact percentages that make sense for you to actually be able to elevate. Because when you talk about things like what Rhea and Roland brought up, even CJ, like investing requires you to have something to invest. That's why most people don't want to talk about investing, because it requires you to get your finances in order to where there is actually a budget to invest in something. So now resources, people, places, and things that are in support of you being motivated, getting things done, planning, and then actively doing resources.
Me, definitely. Resources are very.
It is. I'm gonna tell y'all something, because again, for me, I read a lot, right? But the things I read the most have to do with social science and statistics and shit that social workers get an idea of what's happening in communities. This is the kind of shit that I read. And when you look at certain things like statistics, as far as even college and what, people are going to college or going to get educated on. When you look at a lot of wealthy people, even though they understand that I'm wealthy, I got a family business, my child is going to do well regardless because I'm going to, practice nepotism and have them working for a company I already built generational wealth. A lot of them will still send their children to school with the intent to build resources at that college, right? So that they are connected in the educated realm, right? And they also send them to get a lot of liberal arts degrees. Something that a lot of people don't really see any value in. But when you learn to articulate yourself in certain ways, when you know how to talk in certain rooms and have certain etiquette to be a part of certain conversations, your ability or your access to resources expands. It gets bigger. So for a lot of us, We don't realize, like when people like Love Dorsey are talking about management of emotions and you understanding the things that are wrong with you instead of always talking about what's wrong with a nigga or a bitch, you will realize when I get these things together about me, it will open doors for me, literally. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Especially on the emotion part, because my attitude and my emotion it kept me from a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Fear.
And I'm 51 years old, you know, so.
Don, it's a lot of people that are 20 to 30 years older than you, and they're just now realizing what you're realizing. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. When I talk about this, it's very triggering because people don't like to be accountable that I am in my way. Life is not in my way. I am in my way. The other thing is when we look at being set up correctly, this is why I'm so passionate when we get on the subject of like raising up the next generations under us, right? When we look at young men, at a young age, they should get at least 5 to 7 different suits with socks, dress shoes, a tie, and understand how to put this shit together. Motherfuckers buying their sons Jordans, fucking jeans, t-shirts, cause they designer. The idea is in order to get in certain rooms as a man, oh, watch this, especially as a black man, nigga, you got to know how to clean the fuck up. It's certain places you're not gonna get in there with the ma'am, miss, I'm trying to see if y'all hiring and yeah, so what I do, I fill out the application. And this is how a good majority of motherfuckers' sons are right now. And then when I start talking about the parenting, ooh, it's too touchy. The subject is too But we see what the fuck going on. We see what's going on. Niggas know how to match club outfits. Tell them niggas to put on a suit. Only time I seen a lot of the homies I grew up with put on a suit and that bitch look well put together is when they rented one for somebody's wedding. If you told them, bro, put a suit on, let's go to a business meeting. We're going to go see about getting this new account for our trucking company that we trying to get off the ground. Nigga don't know how to put what colors with what colors. Rather I put on cufflinks with this shirt and jacket or not. What socks go with what. The socks supposed to match the belt. Nigga ain't knowing this stuff. And bitches is steady thinking we're doing it correctly. And as a young man, you're supposed to know this. This is every bit of 8, 9, 10 years old. They supposed to be introduced to this and watch this. For us as women, these young girls need to be told, this rooms you ain't gonna get in with a bonnet on, bitch. You're not. Feel how you want to feel about the motherfucker saying it. It's places you won't fucking get in to the resources that are necessary to reach certain level. You got to be able to put on some clothes. Now, ooh, watch this. We know how to dress sexy and put on something tight for the club or to get a nigga attention. Do you know how to dress the part when it's time to put on some clothes and be a lady? Where you got to strike the attention of resourceful people off of you opening your mouth and spilling out what's in your mind. It's certain rooms, they ain't worried about your bra size, bitch. What do you know? How do you clean up and not just the look? These are the things that even go. What you said, dog? These are the things that when we even talk about dating, you can't even attract a certain type if you're not willing to get, and it's uncomfortable. To get in an uncomfortable space when you wasn't raised with these type of skills or this knowledge or this information, get in that uncomfortable space and change things about yourself to be able to elevate the access that you have to certain people, places, and things. Anybody got any questions on what I'm explaining? Anything they want to add on this part? Somebody tell me, ooh, it got hot in here.
Yeah, Doris, that was
you talking about me. I ain't even talking about me. You talking about me, but I love it though. I love it.
I was able to learn from the 5,000 role models about the suit and the tie.
Come on.
You know, if my mom and dad would have never put me in going to school,
Come on.
put me in the 5,000 role models, I would have never knew about resources or, you know, getting around these older men and,
Come on.
you know, they taught me how to tie a tie and, you know, talk proper etiquette when I get around other grown men, you know, because my dad never taught me these things. So, if my, you know, they would have never put me in school, I would have never even knew about a tie.
Yes.
In the 5,000 role models.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
But listen, your parents were smart enough to know we need to get our son into something where he rubs elbows with some people that are doing it positive and correctly. This is what I was saying about wealthy people that we already rich, right? My son's going to work at my firm. So whether he goes to college or not, he's going to be fine. But I'm going to send him there to be a part of the same fraternity I was, to rub elbows with some of the same alumni. I want him to be a part of some of the programs like 5,000 role models, be able to have his name get brought up with other successful families and people so that they are resourceful, right? I'm setting my child up because if you give a uneducated being a bunch of money or wealth or control of your company after you die, what the fuck is going to happen?
Spend it all.
Come on.
Broke.
Come on. And see, when you have good resources like what I'm describing, they hold you accountable. Not the resources y'all be clinging to. Not the bitches you able to get on the phone with and girl, don't worry about that, child. I can't pay my rent neither. Bitch, just ask for an extension. Bitch, my lights was off 2 months ago too. A motherfucker that's gonna make you feel comfortable. You need somebody alongside you with that dog in them regarding goals and motivation so y'all can rub elbows. And when you ain't on your shit, they can hold you accountable, male or female. Hey, this ain't what we said we was gonna be doing. We 6 months in the year, bitch. You done been out every month, ho. Then you say you was trying to grow your business to XYZ. You need a motherfucker alongside you that's gonna call you out on your shit. Because we are human, we will get comfortable. Like CJ said, we will get complacent. We will get caught up in, well, I'm doing better than I was doing last year, so I could coast. Till it turns into, oh, I'm gonna do one cheat day a week. Then it turned into 2-3 cheat days. Before you know it, you doing one healthy day and everything else is a cheat day or a laid back day. Anybody got any questions on what I'm explaining?
Yeah, love, I do. Can you give us some examples of like, what do you do to stay motivated?
So for one, I keep myself connected with other people that have shit that they're working on. So the idea is every time I'm connecting with my personal associates, all the conversation is about is shit that's being done, stuff that needs to be worked on, new information that they're trying to get to. So even if there's a day where I don't have that motivation in that moment, when you sit on the phone with somebody that they talking about, I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to get licensed to do real estate in 2 more states, bitch, I just finished this state, I'm trying to figure out this, now that I'm doing this, I got this going on. After a while, your ass gonna feel left out in the conversation. It makes you go, you get out the phone. This, bitch, I should have been did that last week. I'm finna do, it's people, places, and things. It is, write this word down, conditioning. You have to, if you understand what I be saying about repetition of information, environment, things, right? That will program your mindset, your mood, your energy, what you are doing, your behavior. And when you understand this, you know I want to program myself. So I want repetition from people, places, and things. Now, the idea is a lot of current habits in order to get new resources, in order to get information that you don't already have. Do y'all understand what I'm explaining?
Yeah.
So now, to answer that person's question, the starting point is goal setting. The starting point is goal setting. You have to have something that you're trying to do. Like Roland said earlier, a purpose, something you're focused on. Outside of, watch this, outside of going to a job and paying bills with the money you earned from the job. The average American, they can't get their mind past that. They're struggling with that. That's why when you look at the percentages of Americans, not just low class or, low income, middle class and some upper class, they're still living paycheck to paycheck. Their lifestyles might look different, but what they're doing to maintain the quality of living, it's consuming so much of their thoughts and focus that when we talk about stuff like this, they in the rat race and can't get out of it. When you look at, go ahead, Chrissy.